In this screencast, we're going to talk about how to sort data, how to delete and shift around data, how to copy data to new sheets, and how to format your data. All right, let's start with formatting your spreadsheet. I'm going to be reading your spreadsheet and grading your spreadsheet, so it's helpful to organize your data in a meaningful way. At the bottom of Excel, there's this thing which looks like a tab here, and you can have several tabs of data. Excel calls each tab a worksheet. If you click the plus here, you can insert a new sheet, and you can do that as many times as is convenient for you. If you click on a tab and then double click, you can actually change the name of that sheet. And instead of saying something like first sheet, second sheet, and so on, I can see that. You might want to try more descriptive names like raw data. And then you could, for instance, use a sheet for your plurality calculation, instant runoff, round 1, and so on. All right, to get your data from the first sheet, which is where it is, into the other sheets, you want to copy that data over. So here we've got some data which we've made almost no changes to. So what you want to do is select all of your data. A quick way to select your data is to click this little diamond up here in the corner. So if we click that diamond, it'll select all this. And we can right-click, go to Copy, and go to the other worksheet, click this upper left-hand cell, and click Paste. And all of our data gets pasted over. We could do that in other sheets as well. Of course, there's keyboard shortcuts and whatnot, menu commands for copying and pasting as well, if you prefer to use those. Your data can be formatted just like it can in most programs. I would encourage you to label it really clearly. So for instance, if you click in a cell and type some things, then all that can be formatted. If you click on a cell, right-click and go to Format Cells, you can choose how that looks. So I've just typed some text. Maybe I like a little bit different font. Maybe I want to make that big because that's some kind of a heading. If you want, you can put borders and patterns and things like that. This just all helps to make your worksheet easier to read and understand for the grader. Remember, you want to keep the grader happy. Okay, we should also spend some time talking about sorting data. So to sort some data, you first need to select the data to sort. Let's select these 3 columns of data. So I'm going to select those by clicking and dragging my mouse across the top of the column. Notice that that selects the data all the way down. This has several thousand lines of data, about 28,000 lines of data. So I'm not going to scroll all the way to the bottom. Once the data is selected, you can go up to Data and Sort. Your Excel program may look a little differently, but you should still have these commands. Your data has a header row because we put headers in the other screencast. So let's click on Header Row and then decide how to sort this. Suppose I want to sort it so that a voter's first preference is sorted in ascending order. So A would be first, B would be second, and so on. Now we have to decide what to do when there's ties. So suppose a voter ranks A first. How should we decide on 2 tie votes? So we can go by their second and third preferences also, if we wish. This should group AAA together at the beginning. So let's take a look at what this would do. We'll hit OK, and the data should sort. Thanks for just a moment. And sure enough, now we see that at the beginning, all the AAA votes are together. Let's just scroll down this list a ways and take a look. Oh boy, there's a lot of AAA votes here. All right, it's getting tedious to scroll down, so I'm gonna drag my scroll bar down to where I see something else. So notice what happened here somewhere along the line. At some point we had just AA, and now we've got just ABA, ABB, ABC, and then all the ABCs are grouped together. It's curious that the ABCs that there's so many of them. You have to wonder whether or not that's a coincidence or not. Okay. And so the data has been sorted in a in a clear way. I do want to point out, if we scroll all the way to the end of this data, I said that there were 28,000 lines of data, but something's weird here. It appears that the last line is actually at 24,000, but there were a number of votes, about 4,000 votes, that were blank in all three spots. So those are appearing here at the end. That just looks like empty worksheet because there were so many blank votes. For instant runoff voting, you might find it helpful to delete some votes. Right? So for instance, if A had the fewest first place votes, we'd want to delete A from all of the ballots and shift the voters' remaining preferences up. Let me show you how to delete data. If we just select some data here, so just for convenience, let's select lots of the A's. We'll select this first grouping all the way down here. I'll tell you what, let's just take that many for now. We can right-click on them after we've selected them, go to delete. Now we have to decide what to do once we delete this data. What we want to do is to shift a voter's second preference up to the first preference. So if we choose Shift Cells Left, it'll do that. And sure enough, this appears that it's taken the A's and deleted them, and then taken what was the second and third preferences and shifted them to the left. For instant runoff voting, I'd recommend that you show all of your work by recording each round in a separate worksheet down here at the bottom. So we've covered copying to a new sheet, formatting, sorting, and deleting and shifting over.